Hello, sleepyheads. It is time for some gentle rest. You have worked hard today, so let me tell you a little story. Thank you for inviting me to usher you into a dreamy slumber. It is story time, and we'll continue the 716 by S.J. Pratt. We'll be doing chapter 2 and chapter 3 today. She's a dear friend of mine, and if you're interested in finding more about her book and her work, check out the show notes or the descriptions. As you get ready for this gentle rest, however you are, lying down or sitting down or leaning against something, we'll still start with 3 deep breaths. In the nose, and send it deep into the belly and out. And as you exhale the second breath, just let your shoulder and your neck, all the tension drop a little. And we'll do this last one together. In the nose. And now we're ready for a little bit of bedtime story. The 716 by S.J. Pratt. Chapter 2. Lim Olivia was destined for greatness. By the age of 18, she had broken the sound barrier in the racing pod she helped to build, won every computer science prize the Renaissance School for Gifted Girls offered, and had founded a nonprofit, Visions for a Better Future, which provided free eyewear to girls administered them in European schools. As the eldest daughter and the only daughter of our mother Lim Dai-yu, Olivia would rule Meliora one day. For now, she would settle for achieving all her goals and setting fashion trends every time she left the house. Olivia stepped out of the front door of her family's Renaissance mansion and accepted a warm cup of coffee from Hargreaves, a proper woman from the notable Upper Mistrodom family. Hargreaves had served the Lim family for years, caring for Olivia since she was 6. While Hargreaves lacked in height, she made up for in her sturdy stature. Her eyebrows were thick with secrets she'd never tell, and she could make one heck of a coffee. Renaissance roaster espresso, plutonium strength, Hargreaves said. Had to fight off the Barnett's chef for the last bag of beans. Olivia took a sip. Oh, Hargreaves, you're the best. Sunlight blessed the vast garden of Lim Manor, highlighting the tennis courts and rows of cherry trees that led down the hill to the street. Birds chirped and leaves fluttered in a warm breeze. It was the perfect morning for the biggest day of Olivia's life. Olivia's puppy, a small pug with a big attitude, bounded down the stairs, through the open doors, and straight into Olivia's legs, cascading coffee in several directions. Satisfied that her outfit was unscathed, Olivia leaned down to pat Nugget as he rolled high on her legs in saliva. Shall I get another coffee delivered to the tower? Don't worry, Hargreaves, Olivia replied, passing the cup back to Hargreaves. A quick inside loop wakes me up just as well as coffee. You will be pleased when you find your transportation for today then. With a bounce in her step, Olivia followed Hargreaves to the front gates, where she saw two things that made her smile grow. Will! Olivia ran to her brother and wrapped her arms around him. He lifted her into the air and spun her. Happy testing day, little sis, he said. His black hair was pulled back into traditional gentleman's low ponytail, and he wore a new maroon suit that brought out the color of his eyes. Will motioned to the gigantic teardrop-shaped present beside him. Olivia ripped off wrapping paper to reveal a polished windshield, blush pink paint, and the cover. She covered her open mouth with both hands. A Cabaret 4000? Thanks to the talent, money, and Hargreaves, Olivia never wanted for anything, except, as she had pointed out to Will several times, this private part. Every pilot was inching to get their hands on it. It hadn't even hit the market yet. She pulled Will in for another hug. You're going to dislocate a disc, he said, though he hugged her back with just as much fervor. Hargreaves stood near the gates, hands folded in front of her, not a crease on her uniform, but a small smile creased her face. Thank you both, Olivia said. It's perfect. Olivia! Her mother's voice doomed. Olivia curtsied as Dai Yu glided down the cobblestone path, arms outstretched. I see you found your present, perfect for such an auspicious day. I'm sorry I can't be there at the tower to see you off. It's this business with the education minister. You know how it is. Dai Yu was the leader of Meliora, commonly referred to as our mother. She was a busy woman, but you promised, Olivia wanted to say. You promised you'd be there this time. Father would have been there. Instead, Olivia nodded diplomatically. Of course, Mother. Dai Yu wiped the shoulders of Olivia's jacket. You will make me proud today, won't you, darling? Remember, you need to score at least a 700. How could Olivia forget? Women's lives were determined by their real test score. No one knew the top possible score. Though 2 decades ago, someone scored 758. She was rushed through university, ran several profitable companies, and was now the finance minister. Outstanding students achieved grades between 700 and 740, often pursuing elite careers like nursing and teaching. Many of Olivia's friends would score over 650 and be welcomed into the University of Rennes. Most young women score between 550 and 650, ensuring themselves a place at the University of Minnesota or other similar institutions. Those who did not reach the required 550 to get into university went on to less challenging work, sometimes rising through the ranks from cashier to middle manager. Rumors suggested that you could fail, score beneath 450, but Olivia hadn't heard of that happening. Some women chose not to take the test either because it was too far to travel to a testing clinic, or they were already set to inherit the family business. And Olivia suspected this was why no one failed, because they knew they wouldn't score well and wanted to avoid embarrassment. But the eldest daughter always scored at least 700. Olivia's grandmother and mother had done exceptionally well. They had made it clear that Olivia would do the same. Then you can submit your application to the Premier School for Leadership once you have your score, Olivia's mother said, adjusting Olivia's scarf. Your legacy, so there's no need to worry. A small yet glorious institution tucked behind the government building in Renesi. The Premier School for Leadership took 15 girls each year and turned them into leaders. Our mother in record history attended the school. One day, the Council of the Wise would need to choose a successor for Olivia's mother, and they would choose from the best of the best. They usually chose the eldest daughter of the current our mother, but Olivia didn't stand a chance if she didn't attend that school. Ace the test, attend the school, grow into a leader, and rule with fortitude and compassion. That was Olivia's destiny. But her dream, if she were to say it very quietly and quickly, was to be an engineer. It had started when she and her father built a bridge across her family estate's pond when she was 7 years old. It grew with the rudimentary design of an automatic lawnmower when she was 12, and solidified when she launched her first rocket at 15. But her mother did not approve. Engineering was an admirable pursuit for a woman, certainly, but not a career for a limb. Olivia saw things differently. She would be both leader and engineer, fostering scientific discovery and technical progress in a way no leader before her had. She'd be the first our mother to leave the borders of Meliora, to venture out into the irradiated plains and find other civilizations, if they existed. Faster, more efficient transportation would be developed, stronger structures would be built, and maybe one day she'd lead the journey to space. Engineering was an asset for a leader, not the hobby her mother saw it was. Olivia simply needed to convince her mother she would do that by acing the real test, attending both the Academy of Engineering and the Premier School for Leadership, winning one of the Young Engineer of the Year awards, and being the best daughter ever. Dayu squared Olivia's glasses and looked into her daughter's eyes. My darling Olivia, you look perfect for your big day. Chin up, dear. You can do this. She placed a quick kiss on Olivia's forehead and shot a brief smile to her son. And then Olivia's mother was gone, striding down a path of greater responsibilities and more important appointments. Olivia's shoulders slumped, her eyes sinking to the ground. Hargreave's spotless black boots stood before her. She'll be here next time, Hargreave said softly. And she is right, Will said, putting an arm around Olivia's shoulders and leading her back to the shiny pond. You can do this. especially if you arrive in style. They were right. She could do this. She'd been preparing for this day her whole life. Her mother wasn't going to be there to wave her goodbye. That wasn't going to stop Olivia. It hadn't before, and it wouldn't now. Olivia entered her brand new pod and smiled. It had everything she wanted: a state-of-the-art communication system, an auto-descending staircase, complete with the auto-tracking stage lights, and best of all, a coffee warming compartment. Locating her favorite button on the dashboard, manual mode, Olivia started up the pod. She understood the appeal of just getting in the pod, saying your desired location, and reading the news. But there was nothing quite like flying the pod yourself. Anti-gravs engaged. Levitation controls ready. Drumming her fingers on the stick, she waited for the personal safety shield to wrap around her torso. Navigation available. The Cavaret 4000 has the speed of a racing pod, but will he handle like one? Thrusters engaged. Only one way to find out, she thought. Olivia took to the sky with the precision of an engineer, the determination of a woman, and the zeal of a dancer. She pulled back on the stick, feeling a rush as she rose into the air, soaring towards the sun, nipping the side of a cumulus cloud. Olivia took a breath before switching off the levitation controls. The horizon spun into a kaleidoscope. The pod system lit up with warning lights. Here was her thigh and stomach muscles as tight as rope. In the tumbling turbulence of the air, Olivia was at home. She stole one more second of joy before flicking the levitation controls back on. With a whoomph that sent her stomach to the floor, Olivia was in control of the pod, returning the horizon to its normal position. She set her course for the tower of testing and switched her identify to public radio. I'm standing outside of the tower of testing as hundreds of young women gather to take the most important test of their lives, Vicky from Miniatrude was saying. It wasn't long before Olivia was beginning her descent towards the tower. Looking at the crowd that she had gathered, it was larger than she had expected, and she expected it to be large. The blur of colors became a stack of crayons before morphing into the screaming faces of her avid fans. She did one more aerobatic trick, glided past a billboard featuring the talented Tam Mei Ling and the hottie Jason Jones in the new Journeys into the Jungle movie. She could have sworn Jason winked at her for good luck, and passed an inconvenient part, landing smoothly beside the tower in the spot reserved for her. Yes, I can confirm that Lim Olivia has arrived. The crowd goes wild. The cliché was accurate, if not creative. The roar of her fans hit her as the pod door lifted. Oh, how they loved her, and she loved that. Olivia stood on top stairs of the auto-descending staircase, straightening the creases of her skirt and letting adoration wash over her. She indulged in the walk down the pink carpet. She kissed 4 babies, hugged 10 loyal fans, signed 25 copies of this month's Elite magazine, helped a man who had fainted, and made silly faces in 11 selfies. Her smile was a well-trained friend, and her hands waved with minimal yet convincing effort, She complimented a fan on her outfit. That pink hat brings the whole outfit together, don't you think? And popped her hip to pose for a paparazzi. Vicky from Mini True, recording bot hovered nearby, floating in a circle around Olivia to capture every angle. Miss Lim, how are you? Confident your test will go well? Absolutely. As she continued down her rose-tinted runway, Olivia's smile broadened. In the enormous shadow of the tower were her best friends, draped over a bench as if life were a canvas she was posing for. Was Miss Aramisa Martin, heir to the impressive fortune and the online media empire Express. Aramisa wanted for little. She lived her life in search of passion, which she found primarily in calculus, cake, and the hulking arms of young men. Standing beside her was Carl Cartwright, who after today was sure to be the 15th Cartwright to be accepted to the League of Historians elite program. She had big dreams, big eyes, and big shoes to fill. Olivia embraced her friends in turn. Ready? She asked. Let's do this, Aramisa replied. Carl offered a polite smile, shy but no less enthusiastic. With a quick goodbye to Carl's and Aramisa's mothers, a wink to the blushing doorman, and a final wave to her fans, Olivia and her friends entered the Tower of Testing. Chapter 3. The tower was a glorious feat of engineering. Spiraling staircases, shiny Avalonian beams supporting the famous green glass exterior. In the center of the foyer, a phenomenal dinosaur skeleton. Holograms of famous scientists, psychologists, and artists smiled down at Olivia from their frames. The foyer bustled with students. Many donned the uniforms from Miss Shortham's main schools. An eclectic mix of colors, all with a purple trim. Students from Renese's 3 schools gathered in small groups, each wearing green uniforms with white trim, sunburnt orange uniforms, or pink blazers with gold buttons. Olivia was surprised to see a few varieties of gray uniforms. Not many European students travel so far for testing day. A line had formed behind a ticket machine, which Aramisa and Carl were joining. It moved quickly, and it wasn't long before Olivia was scanning her identify and grabbing her ticket. Welcome, Lim Olivia. Please proceed to the waiting room on floor 6. Your name will be called when we are ready for you. Olivia's heart beat a little faster in her chest. Olivia and her friends made their way up to the central staircase, waving goodbye to Carl, who was assigned to floor 4. Aramisa and Olivia continued up to floor 6. A door slid open as they approached it, and they found themselves in the large waiting room. Calming music attempted to cut through the chatter of excited girls. Floral perfume scents wafted about the room. The middle of the room hosted several luxurious satin couches, and the wall proudly displayed around 30 sculpted wooden doors. Olivia had never waited in a waiting room before. It was exciting and unusual and colorful and dull and uncomfortable and tedious. Had it only been 2 minutes? Olivia paced about, signed the copies of early magazines she found on the coffee table, and regretted the decision to try their coffee. Aramisa settled in on the couch, stretching out her long, muscly legs. Finally, a technician recognized Lord Olivia, and her name was promptly called. She stood square her glasses and made her way to the door labeled 4. Swallowing, she leaned in so the system could scan her identify. Everything she ever wanted lay just beyond this door. Welcome, Miss Lim Olivia. That's it. If you're interested in the rest of the 716, check out the show notes or the description so you can find out more about S.J. Pratt. Rest gently. Be well.